So the big question is this: how do you maintain respect during arguments? Today, I want to share the importance of staying respectful even when you have disagreements in a relationship. My name is Nwosu, and welcome to the Second Chances Podcast, a love journey in black and white. So how do you handle and react during disagreements? Are you a 0 to 100 in 10 seconds? Do you shout and scream and make sure that your opinions are heard and not willing to back down? Or do you retreat, be silent, and come back when you've calmed down to have a more adult, mature conversation? Well, I know which one I am, and I'm still working at it. I'm a work in progress. I know that some people, and I've heard people say this, they think that a happy, healthy relationship means no disagreements, no arguments. Not true. That is not a relationship. But okay, that's not what we're talking about today. So, disagreements are a natural part of any relationship. They will test you. They will test your communication skills. They will test your patience. They will trigger you. But most importantly, they will test your respect for each other. So what happens when a simple argument escalates, when it touches on some of those deep-seated triggers, you know the ones I'm talking about? Does respect fly out of the window for you? Well, I want to share a story of something that happened when we were in Cuba recently. So it was a beautiful morning. We were out having breakfast in the restaurant, and we'd had a good morning, and it was a chill, nice day. And I started to ask Davide a question because he's a bit of an overthinker and he's always deep in thought. And I started to ask him a question about his thinking. So I said, "Oh, Davide, when you think," and before I could finish the question, he just said, "Not now. I'm not in the mood to talk about this." He snapped at me, not in a loud voice, but just in a matter of fact, cut me short kind of way. And I just went silent. I went silent, and I could already feel the tear about to drop on my face because I was triggered. Being shut down is one of my biggest triggers. And like I said, I'm still a work in progress. But I never really know how to react, so I just shut down completely. You cut me off, I shut down. I turned cold, and which is what I did. This is a very familiar reaction because that's how I respond to most times when you snap at me. I just shut down and I need time to go calm down, and then we can have a conversation later. But Davide is the opposite of me. And when we have these sort of situations come up, he wants to quickly help me snap out of it. He wants to bring me back to my happy-go-lucky person. And so he would always say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. Oh, okay, tell me, what did you want to ask?" But at this point, I'm gone. I'm at 100. And so I said to him, "I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to ask the question. I'm good." And he's like, no, let's talk about it. I'm sorry. What do you want to know? Please don't be like that. Don't do that. And I said, "Well, I don't want to talk to you right now." And he said, "What do you mean you don't want to talk to me? Of course you have to talk to me." Boom. Second trigger, telling me what to do or feel. And right there and then, I went from 100, which is typically my highest gauge, to 1,000. I completely lost it. And I just told him to F off, pretty much. And he'd never heard me say those kind of words to him before. And obviously it was new terrain for both of us. And so he just quietly got up and walked away. Trigger number 3, walking away from me. So that was the height. So I went from 1,000 to now 10,000. And he left me in the restaurant and walked away. And I just sat there for a few minutes, went back to the room and went to do some self-soothing, which is what I like to do. So when I'm triggered, I go and I self-soothe and I recognize that this is a trigger. This is a childhood trauma that I'm still dealing with. And I have to go within myself to calm myself down and to talk myself out of it and really question why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling and walk my way back to the right mindset, right? The right emotional state. So it took me about 2 hours to get over this. And when I was feeling better, I went out looking for him by the pool, which is where I guessed he would be. As I walked towards the pool, I saw he was already standing, walking towards me. And he said to me, "Oh, I was just coming to look for you. Are you okay?" I said, "I'm okay." And, we sat down, or we stood. We talked about it for a bit, talked about the triggers, talked about how what I said to him really hurt him and how he found it very disrespectful. I already knew that before he said that to me. And as we all know, respect is something that is so important to men. Right? And it doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter how you're feeling. It is important to always hold back from crossing the line to disrespect. You can have a disagreement. You can have an argument. You can express your feelings. You can express your point of view without being disrespectful. That is a boundary that most men do not tolerate. And so I already knew that I had crossed it, which is why I was going to look for him at the pool, because I knew that, okay, this is new territory for us. And I know that Davide, he's a masculine man, and so I knew that he would be deeply offended by the words that I spoke to him. So we both apologized, and we committed to working on it, and that was a real valuable lesson for me. I have done a lot of work on myself, and I know that a lot of people are working on themselves. We all have trauma. We all have things that we're dealing with from previous relationships. So it's really about understanding your triggers, being aware, and being able to control yourself when you're triggered. Love is not always going to be this fairy tale, rosy, hunky-dory situation. No, there will be times where you will have arguments. You will have disagreements. You will not see eye to eye. You will have different points of views. You will be triggered. You will be triggered, rest assured. And you can expect all you want for someone to not trigger you, but that's not going to happen. You will be triggered. So it's also about communicating your triggers, being vulnerable enough to say, look, I'm still dealing with this stuff, right? And expressing to them how maybe you can handle the triggers so that they can support you in your healing. I always say that relationships are meant to help you heal from some of the traumas that you're still carrying around. And I strongly believe that. So your partner will trigger you. Be ready to be triggered and be ready to trigger them as well, and be able to deal with it when it comes up. But like I said, it doesn't matter what the situation is. Respect is so key. It's so important, and it can be the beginning of the breakdown of a relationship. Men love respect. Women love respect too. But we love more than we love respect. But we love love and respect, and men love respect. It is their number one. And so I just want to say to you today, even if you're single or you're in a relationship or you're dating, I want you to reflect on how you handle disagreements, how you handle conflict, because conflict will happen. When you are triggered, how do you respond? Do you still have respect? It is so key. I had forgotten. I thought that, I will always be respectful. But in that moment, 0 to 10,000, which I wasn't used to, wow, respect just kind of went out the window. Couldn't control myself. So maybe that's a healing point for you as well. How do you react when you're triggered? What kind of words do you choose to say? Do you say hurtful things? Do you say disrespectful things? Things that demean the person? Insults that shame them? Check yourself. Reflect on it. Respect is so important in a relationship, and the best way to test it is during disagreements and arguments. So I wanted to share that with you today. Davide and I we overcame it pretty quickly because we were able to talk about it. And we've also agreed if we need to get help, aka therapy, we will get therapy to make sure that if there's still things that are lingering, past trauma that is still lingering, we have to work through it. We have to make sure that we're doing what's best for the relationship, and that respect never goes out of the window. Never, ever goes out of the window. So like I said, disagree all you want, have arguments, have debates, have opposing points of views, but never ever let respect go out of the window. That's all I wanted to share with you today. Well, thank you for listening to today's episode on the Second Chances podcast, A Love Journey in Black and White. Remember, no matter what, never give up on love. Till next time, sending you love and light.